I would like to call to order the July 13th, 2022 regular meeting of the Monee Village Board of Trustees. If I could please ask Deacon Mark Otten from St. Boniface to come up for the invocation, please.
God bless you. Now prayer is over. Let us put ourselves in God's hands by calling upon him who is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, send the gift of your Holy Spirit to be on these council members. Give them the wisdom to know your will and the fortitude to live by it. The gift of wonder and awe, knowing that we are all God's children. The gift of piety, that we may humbly serve this community. The gift of understanding, that we may be good listeners and communicators. And the gift of knowledge, that we may know that all is for your glory. And we also pray for the repose of the soul of Elizabeth Rackus. Eternal rest grant unto her, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon her. May her soul and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen.
Thank you. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Here.
Trustee Henson.
Here.
Trustee Horn.
Here.
Trustee Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Udris.
Present.
Open to the public, agenda items only. Moving on to the consent agenda, can I please have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes. Thank you. Clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor Bogues. First and foremost, I want to just let the family of our dear trustee Elizabeth Rackus know that we're praying for myself, my family, praying for you all during this time, comfort and strength. I'll never forget the first time I met her, which was Election Day 5 years ago for us. And she looked at me in the face and said, I registered so I could vote for you guys. And I know you're going to do a good job, but I'm going to hold you to it. And I never forget that. So I just wanted to let you know that it's a great loss and you all are in my prayers. End of report. Oh, one thing before I get done. That was the first thing. I did want to let everyone know from early voting, we did have a total of 87 voters. Yay. And I wanted to make sure I thanked those that did come out and help to volunteer. Deputy Clerk Michelle Powell Johnson, Linda Marshall, Warren Gehring, Lisa Murray, Scott Johnson, DJ and Shannon Crizel, and Ed Johnson as well. End of report.
Thank you. Under my report, I'm going to start with a couple of words here. I first met Liz Rackus on December 23rd, 2020. She was running for trustee and she wanted to meet me. I knew practically nothing about Liz, but about 4 hours later, I had learned a lot. Liz is honest, determined, forthright, motivated, kind, God-loving, empathetic, and beyond generous. I use the present tense with this description as Liz will live on in the many lives she has touched. Liz had given support to me in more ways than she probably knew. She gave generously and anonymously. She placed the needs of others over any sense of self-importance. Liz's passing leaves an enormous void, but one filled with happy memories, gratitude, and love. We're honored to have Liz's son Chuck here. So Chuck, I welcome you if you would like to come up and share some words.
Thank you guys for the welcoming, everything that you guys have done. I just want you all to know that my mom had a unique place for each and every one of you in her heart. She never spoke a bad word about anybody here, and she loved everybody here for her own reasons. I thank you for being good to my mother and taking the same position as I have for or with my mother in my life, and any kind of direction she may have helped with or shown, and I appreciate the love that you guys have all given my mom. I know my brother and sister, they wanted to come tonight, but some things came up with work and things like that. I know they would be echoing the same thing. But thank you for accepting my mother and working together. And if there's anything my family can continue to do for our town, we would be more than willing to help out in any way that we can. Thank you.
Trustees, anybody would like to say anything, please feel free.
I'm going to start, see if I can get through this too. And Chuck, I've known you as long as I've known your mom, maybe even a little longer. But the tremendous love and this spiritual love that your mom has shown me and my family over the years, I so appreciate. And she recently shared part of something, a gift that was given to her from a friend who had gone to Israel. And in honor of my son, whom she loved, she was able to share a little bit of that trip with our family. And without question, it was more than she ever could have realized. So thank you for the gift of your mom to us.
So I'll go. First time that I met Liz was when she came into the boardroom here to challenge Mayor Pop to get a camera for the police department, and I thought, wow, I like her spirit. Got a chance to get to know her even better when she started running for trustee, and I spent quite a bit of time talking to her. And boy, she loved Monee. She loved the seniors. She really loved everybody, but her two big passions were the seniors and the police department. And I certainly shared that with her, and learned a lot from her just in listening to her and talking to her, being around her, and will sorely, sorely miss her. She was a friend that I just didn't get to spend enough time with.
I'd like to first and foremost offer my condolences for our loss. I first met Liz when I decided I was going to run for trustee, and she was so supportive. But then she found out I was law enforcement, and a whole other side came out in her. And I just was taken back. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. You know, this is pretty she's a genuine person. Like, this is who she is. And just looking back at the projects she was involved in, and Project Blue Eye always stands out and comes to mind, but she did so much behind the scenes. And she didn't want any praise or recognition. All she wanted was someone to have the tools that they needed, that were necessary to do the job. That's it. It wasn't about who got the praise for it or who got the accolades. It was about getting the job done. And as I told Chuck, what I really appreciate about Liz is you never had to know or question what she was thinking, because she'd tell you, right? So, I mean, at least you knew where you stood with her. At least you knew what she was thinking, and there was no gray area or anything. It was just straight shooter. This is how it is. And she also practiced what she preached. That's pretty stand up. You know, growing up on the Southwest side, that's a lot how we grew up. And I was telling Chuck too. She reminded me of those old moms that just come out. Hey, what are you doing over there? Get out of! I'm gonna tell your mom. And that's what Liz always. She always had that effect on me. Like I straighten up and like okay. But as Trustee Scott Udrith said, the two things she was very passionate about, and we've had many conversations being able to sit next to her, and was the Monee Police Department and our seniors. And as this board, we go along, we should carry that along, that legacy in which we've had in honor of her. She really was passionate about our police department and about our seniors. Those were the two main things she always said. She said, then I can retire. She said, I'll find somewhere in Florida or move to somewhere warm, and then I'll be done. I get those two things implemented. So I just feel that we have to carry on that legacy for her as a board, as a village. I just really thank Liz for spending that time. She is a busy person. We all know she was very busy, but yet because of that passion, she saw the need, so she ran, and she carried the torch for those things which were passionate in her, and that takes a lot, you know. And that's what, if we have more people like that, wow, what an awesome place this would be, right? So thank you for allowing your mom to spend some time with us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, funny enough, I met Liz the same day that the mayor did, because we were all running together and just wanted to meet each other. Instantly we clicked. I said, I like her. And I unfortunately didn't have as much time to get to know her as everybody else, but we spent some time talking on the phone during the you know, running for the election and other times, and we'd get the business out of the way, and then she'd just start talking, and look down, and we've been talking for 45 minutes or what have you. Boy, I tell you what, when she took on a cause, she sunk her teeth into it, and you better not be on the other side of that. First responders, the elderly, her family, her friends, that all meant a lot to her. She'd sit here beside me, and most of the time she'd forget a pen. So I'd give her a pen, and it was a little joke, you know, don't be stealing my good pens and everything like that. And not only Monee, not only our village, but the world in itself is a little less bright with her being gone. I'm going to miss that smile, that crooked smile of hers, and that, hi, honey, every time she seen me or every time she sat down here. My condolences. I'm going to miss her.
You know, the one thing I enjoyed about your mom most was we, in this board, I would say we had some rigorous and spirited discussions between her and I, and the other board members too, but usually the line of talking was, you want to spend how much on what? And I'd say, well, you know, do we need to spend that much on this thing? So we would get into it on those issues, but at the end of the night, she always said, nothing personal. I got, you know, I'm just passionate about these things. I say, oh yeah, that's fine, that's great. We had that discussion, but at the end of the night, at the end of the day, we can come together and make decisions for the village to make this a great place to live. So thank you for that.
Chuck, you know, she was ours. Rest of them can talk. She was ours. All right. Your mom, I wish I could bottle it. Her passion was incredible. And the things that she did and wanted to do for us and for so many other areas of this community who people aren't really aware of, many things she did, because she never, ever wanted accolades or wanted to, we would find out through the grapevine. We would hear from other people, and I would ask her about it, and she would change the subject immediately. That's the way she was. But the first time I met her, she walked in, she had this list. And I thought, oh, not another one of these. Well, obviously that list was her ways that she thought we could make the police department more inclusive in the community. And she wanted to be a part of that. And she was. She was a major part of it. And we talked often, and she was always, what do you need? What do you need? And that's, we're getting what we need, you know, we're working on it. You're not getting enough. You need to get more. And sometimes she would be yelling at me, and I would smile. I would go, Liz, you're yelling at me. And she would go, you need to yell at those trustees more like I yell at you. And I goes, I don't think I can get away with it like you. And she goes, you're right, I'll do it for you. I love your mom. She is irreplaceable. So, from all of us at the Monee Police Department,
I guess I'll trail that up. There's a saying that a word spoken from the heart goes to the heart. Your mom wasn't one to prepare a speech, spend time putting a lot of thoughts together. It always came from the heart. And I think that's why she was so effective in what she did and why she touched everybody here the way she did, and others, those that she came in contact with, because it was always a word spoken from the heart. And she touched my heart many times. I'm going to miss our weekly discussions that we would have. And you guys were at the forefront, her children, her grandkids, at the forefront, the village, but she loved to talk about her God. He played an important part in her life, and she's going to be sorely missed. And I'm grateful that you guys are here. Thank you for being here tonight.
I'll finish. I didn't know your mother that long, but as all the trustees and Mayor Boggs and everyone up here eloquently said, you knew what you were getting with her. She was fair, but she really loved Monee. I've always said trustees, the mayor, are underappreciated because they put so much effort, and your mom was the first one to think like that. And every trustee and Mayor Boggs, they spend so much time, but your mom, you knew where you stood with her, especially when it came to the police department. She was passionate, and the people of Gulf Vista, she was passionate. So she was a true asset to the village of Monee, and she was very, very proud of Mayor Boggs and his entire board, staff, and you were glad she had your back. But she was a very, very good lady. We'll miss her.
Thank you, everyone, for all your words.
Thank you for being here.
And I keep hearing the echo of, you didn't have enough time, I had 40 years, I didn't have enough time. And again, I just want to say thank you.
I know we're not supposed to be able to talk, but I just want to let you guys know, as someone who's a resident of Monee and never met your mother, she had an an impact on all of us. I heard, like they said, I heard so much from the grapevine about your mother. It was incredible. And I just want to let you know that myself and my husband, we decided that we want to do something for you guys. So we would like to get together with the village, and we want something in here. We want to put like a flag or something of Trustee Rakes, if that's okay with you. We would like to donate that so that it's here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Rhonda.
I'll get together with the trustees and the mayor, and we'll figure it out.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Anybody else? Thank you again, Chuck, for your time, and our condolences for sure. Thank you. Oh, services, yeah, services are going to be held this upcoming Saturday at Monee Funeral Parlor from 1 to 7. Thank you, Heidi. Okay. Moving on to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First item under my report is PBS, Plan, Design, Build, Professional Services. They are here tonight. Chad Sharon with PBS is going to provide a presentation. As the board and the public is aware, we've removed the pavilion. We now have a tent. Hopefully it's just for a short period of time, but PBS has some ideas. It's been presented. You've got a packet, but Chad, if you can come up and just share with the board some of the options we can consider. It's all yours.
Thank you. It's tough stuff.
Yeah. Tough act to follow, honey.
That's fine. It's more important. So, Ruben and I spoke. First of all, Chad mentioned I'm Chad with PBS. So we're in Crete. We're a design, build, construction management firm, in short. So we just started to discuss, and this will be high level, of replacement for this pavilion. So obviously it was wood prior. The consideration is wood or perhaps steel. Taking two different approaches to it. There are a few different considerations here. Again, this is high level, very arbitrary at this point, but steel and wood, steel inherently has its ability to last longer as a material selection. Cost-wise, they're close. The biggest difference here is we all know material availability at this point. Steel lead times are quite a bit out further than wood is. If we go back to that picture, this is a steel pavilion. As you can see, it's finished in different materials on the underside. Without getting into the weeds, you can go A to Z in how you finish these type of pavilions off, whether it's with masonry, whether you enclose it. That's something that we hadn't actually talked about, but so it's full season, still the pavilion, but full seasoned where you could have open accessibility to it year round. So if you look at some of these numbers, again, the packet that we provided to you, it's the presentation here, but also a little bit of information on PBS. This, again, the numbers, if you were to engineer as well as provide full construction for the wood versus steel, you can see they're very close in estimated cost of what that would be. So that compared to if we were to jump to a standalone addition type of building, which truly would be year-round application, flexibility, you can see many of the items there that you could do. The sky's the limit. Budget obviously is a constraint there. So taking the footprint that you have with the pavilion out there, using rules of thumb at this point for potential construction costs, we have it in the $1.5 to $2 million range. Again, you look at pavilion versus addition, new construction cost, you can see there's considerable difference there, but there's difference in value as well in terms of what you're going to be able to use the actual pavilion for, or the new building for. So that would have to be something that you all collectively make a decision on. What value do you want in this, this facility? Again, the pavilion, with the idea of finishing it to the outside, where you could have, for example, roll-up doors, to where it's an open area. It emulates exactly what you had before, but you have that full year-round accessibility to it. That would be the ability to have flexibility versus doing a new building, which again we mentioned there. These are ideas we started to talk about in early on conversations. Fireplaces, flexibility inside, how would the outside look? Again, that's getting into the weeds a little bit, but there's some examples here that we've shown in your packet, but also on the screen, of how you could finish off these type of structures if you were to build an addition versus the pavilion. These show examples of overhead doors to the exterior. If it's exterior, opening up to the fields out there, opening up to a patio area to where you could have activities. Again, exterior looks, and that was the intent of this, is just to give ideas of what exterior looks could look like. Perhaps to, go ahead.
Drawings and things that you have in there, these projects that you have already completed?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. In a lot of these buildings, again, it's idea, material selections, it's ideas of what it could look like on the outside. Inside, creating that, again, the living room feel in areas of the building. In Crete, our office is right in Crete, and Crete has one of their facilities. They have the fireplace inside, and they use that for a lot of events, so something like this could be similar to that. Again, another application, open, flexible, all week long. And then this is something else as well that's of common interest. If it's a 7-day-a-week, 5-day-a-week application, if it's flexible, you can put children's area inside there to where mothers could come during the week and bring their children while they're doing yoga or some other type of activity. Again, the inside application showing open air flexibility with overhead doors, accessibility to outside and inside. And I don't know that athletics would be of interest, but this is a type of flexible floor that you can put in. It's a rubberized floor that is really for all applications, just to give you an idea of what that would look like. Flexible room space, whether it's education, classroom, you name it. Again, if it's a yoga, karate type of studio, that would be in part of this building. If it is an addition, we'll put turf in a lot of them just for flexibility. Just different ideas. This actually was a public works facility, ESDA, we did over in Calumet City. Similar that we talk about the design build model, to where we're involved with design as a professional service and then construction management as well as a professional service, or it's a combination between the two of us partnering with our design team, bringing the team together, putting the numbers together. Obviously budget's critical, all prior to moving forward into final construction. So it's all under one umbrella, provides single source of delivery, but as a professional service. if you're familiar with Crete, we put this up there to give an idea. This is Alamein cold storage transportation facility off of Route 1. So we developed this ground up a few years back and have since done a number of additional buildings there.
And I have some knowledge of the history of PBS too, who are, have done a gazillion churches in the area too, am I correct?
That's true. Yeah. We do a lot of churches. That's a lot of our pride and our history is working with ministries, but we commercial, industrial as well. And,
still family owned?
Family owned.
Yes.
Yes. So my father-in-law originally started the company, and now myself, I'm the president, and I have other family that runs operations. Recently, we completed Athos Dental right here in town. A build out there. You might recall the Will County Health Department build out as well. We're involved with Amazon. We partnered with Farnsworth Group in terms of all the inspections for that facility a number of years back. So definitely history. Obviously, we're close. This was just a matter of naming a couple local projects, but just familiarity with PBS. So in terms of this project you're considering, there's two focus points. It's the cost implications for doing a pavilion versus building ground up addition, and what brings more value to you to the cost that goes with each of those. Any questions?
So on the pavilion project,
Sure.
Would you reuse the current concrete or pour new?
Pour new. Yeah, we'd rather take that out. What happens is whether it's steel or wood will play into that, but also is if we're going to enclose it or not. If we're enclosing it and you're providing any type of mechanical application, heating and air, we'll want to have a full foundation wall. So we'll want to pour new concrete. And just with the age of the slab that's there, the movement that it's encountered over time, we'd rather have a clean slate.
And did you say the steel, the lead time is longer on steel than wood at this point?
Yes.
What's the lead time on wood?
Wood probably in the 3-month range. And if you're familiar with the construction materials market right now, I could tell you something today and next week, it'll be completely different. But that, on average, that's what we're seeing right now is about the 3-month. Steel could be next spring before we could see it.
And the steel for, like the picture that you had, those were like the frames, the prefab frames that built up?
Sure. That's the, they call it pre-engineered steel, right?
And we're looking at maybe next spring so far?
If you were to do steel, yes.
And this might be like, the chicken or the cart before the horse kind of thing, but in closing, if we did or, look to the project to perhaps enclose it, could you utilize the building that's already there, or are we starting from ground zero?
No, I think you could utilize a building that's there and add on to it.
Yeah, okay.
For sure, yeah.
With some design changes and
what we'd like to see, and they would be planning together, but if you reface the existing building, so there's symmetry between all of them. We always like to make it look similar if all possible.
Right. So it doesn't look like an add-on,
Right.
I'm curious, this one, where is this one located?
This is actually in Champaign.
Okay. What, is that a church?
It's a church.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're Green Garden supplied the steel for that, actually.
Yeah. It's very similar.
Yeah. Green Garden is a single slope with a plan to, in the future, add the other slope. But
how about that one?
this is actually in Wisconsin. Yes.
So did you do the church in Green Garden? I think it's called Jackson Creek. Is that your project?
We provided the steel for that.
For the steel, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Which one?
Well, I know.
Not Faith Dyer, no, we did not do that. Yeah, they had somebody in the church that they utilized for that. But depending on how familiar you are with the Indiana side, there's a number of churches over there with that. Years ago, we did, probably familiar with the Believers Church.
Oh.
And that's in there.
Okay.
A lot of history.
Chad, you provide all the professional services as far as the planning, design, and the construction. Let's say hypothetically during the planning phase, what would that look like? In person, and how would that take place?
Absolutely. Planning-wise, design-wise, we'd like to collaborate, and whomever is chosen to, I guess, field those questions, a committee of sorts, unless it's the whole board together, we would sit down together and go through exactly what your needs are. And
would it be on site here or in
yeah,
Monee?
Whatever's easier. I'm
Okay.
5 minutes down the road, so it's okay.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. Certainly.
Can I just get your thoughts as you were looking at our current structure and the availability of the buildings, pre-existing building? What were your thoughts?
On the availability?
As far as design or anything you see that stuck out?
Well, if you're going to go with a new standalone building versus a pavilion, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, just your complete thoughts when you saw it.
For Monee, for flexibility, of course, I'd love to see a ground-up new building that you could add onto your existing, replan both buildings together. Maybe take what's in the existing, bring some of that into new, and utilize some programming differently in that existing building. It's all entirely in terms of what you're looking to accomplish in the new building. Pavilions, they're wide open. You can only use them so many seasons out of the year, naturally, so they're limited.
Sure.
You have a lot more to do when you can go ground up, and perhaps even consider multi-level.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of variables involved.
Definitely.
Have you seen our parks comprehensive plan as well? You know, what the ideas were around Fireworks Park in that area?
Not in detail.
Not in
No.
detail, okay.
No. But that would be important to try to bring those together. Anytime we do, for PBS, anytime we're planning, whether it's a commercial building, it's a church, we think from a master planning perspective, we think in phases, if possible, to where here's the now, what about the future? You know, what can we accomplish now that maybe we want to do in the future but couldn't do now, or vice versa? What can we do now to meet needs that can allow us a flexibility or expansion that we can accomplish in the future?
One of the things I like about the steel, I like to look at it with the vaulted ceiling, giving more ceiling space for different activities there. But if we were to do something like that with overhead doors, are the overhead doors able to be put into where the tracks aren't coming out, you know, at a right angle from the building and taking away from the ceiling space?
Yeah, it's a good question. The track, we can make them to where they'll run the actual pitch of the gable.
And as far as the material, I know wood you could get quicker and everything and such, 3 months or what have you. But with a wood, just a pavilion like such and a steel one, what would be the difference in longevity for the years of that?
The way we engineer our wood buildings, it's not, with us we work with a wood manufacturer of manufactured pre-engineered wood buildings similar to our steel. It's not, I guess the best example would be designing a house to where it's stick built. These are engineered beams laminated together. So it's different than maybe the longevity of a house with exposed wood, so to speak. But in the end, steel's always going to be your best longevity.
And there's not that a big difference in price of the two.
Not substantial.
Would you recommend, just off the top of your head, would you recommend the steel, is what you're saying?
With the
pretty
price
much?
difference, yes.
Yeah.
But depending on how you eventually finish the building, if you were going to enclose it, perhaps, then we might start to consider how we change the engineering. Wood might be more practical.
Thank you.
So you're having all your wish list, so to speak, would help us with that.
Next steps? We do.
So we've got a lot to consider, a lot of homework to do. So we can, what we're going to do is spend the next few weeks talking internally about it, our options. I'm sure you and I will be talking as well, and maybe look at more detailed information if we are looking at a certain route to go to, and we'll bring it back. If we're at a standpoint where we're ready to go for approval and take a vote, we'll have it on the agenda on the 27th. Otherwise, we can move it until August, but hopefully we can come to a consensus pretty quickly.
And if there's questions in the interim that come up about the process, please let us know, maybe through Ruben. We'll help you however we can, guide it.
Okay. There is one thing, if I could ask Chad, just actually it's going to be for our attorney, because this is a professional service, you hit on it. I just want to talk, expound on a little bit, so
Sure.
if Larry, if you can address that.
Yeah, in this situation, you would do a design bid build? You would bid it out too?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Prevailing wage,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a load off our mind. But Mayor and the board, basically, if they're architectural services and they're in charge of the entire project, and since architectural and they'll do the bid work, to me, that's professional service. So it's very similar, I think, to the creamery. You hired that architect, and then he did all the bidding, and we didn't say anything about it. I mean, we got the bills, we paid it, so it's almost the same concept. And that went through, no problems.
Well, we've always been design build, but in the public sector, what we like about this process, because they're two separate professional services, is as a designer, we're also a builder. So from a designer standpoint, we can think as we design from a builder's perspective. So having that ability, and then before you move into construction, having the team together, bidding everything out for the benefit of the community, there's a lot of synergy that flows in that process.
Very good. Chad, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Next item under my report is the Monee Heritage Center donation disbursements. In the village's commitment to assist the Monee Heritage Center to fulfill its vital mission to our community, the village has agreed to make a $25,000 donation to the Monee Heritage Center to accomplish their mandate. The donation funds were budgeted for fiscal year 2023, and we would need a formalized approval vote to memorialize this disbursement. The board action requested is a motion to approve the $25,000 donation to the Monee Heritage Center for fiscal year 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Thank you, board. Next item under my report is Water Tower Number 2, Repaint Project. The village has received the attached invoice 3356, which is a final payout request number 2 from Jetco Limited for work completed on the Water Tower 2 Repaint Project. This invoice has been reviewed by staff in Robinson Engineering and has been found to be in substantial compliance with the plans and specifications. Therefore, we recommend that Jetco Limited is entitled to payment of $270,498.20. Please see the summary below. The total earned to date is $452,120.00, less the previous payment of $181,621.80. The amount due this pay request is $270,498.20. There is a side note, so the board is aware Jetco Limited worked with the village and Robinson Engineering to reduce the cost associated with the tank containment by covering the tank during painting operations, which provided a savings. The overall project cost ended up being approximately $39,000 under the original contract amount. Board action requested is a motion to approve Jetco Limited invoice 3356, a final payout request in the amount of $270,498.20.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Thank you, board. The end of my report.
Moving on to the officials' reports. Public Works, Trustee Horn.
Good evening, everyone. Landscapers will be out this week and next week for the last remaining area of the roadway project. That's coming along great. Branches were picked up by DPW staff this week, July 13th and 14th. And my wife's going to be mad at me because I didn't put mine out. I missed it, totally missed it. So could we have one next week?
We have one more.
Okay, we'll go with your schedule, sir. August 17th and 18th. I don't want to be manipulating the work there. So branch pickup is 17th and 18th. And then will be some new park signs going up. They'll be replacing those signs for all the parks. End of report.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. Our Parks and Recreation Board report today, remembering everybody that this past Saturday was our annual Kids Day event. Estimated 250 kids and their families attended. They enjoyed the water slides, the jump house, the free hot dogs and games, the Oreo stacking contest, and music and more. First of all and foremost, thank you to all the volunteers who helped along with our gracious sponsors who were Shoops, Rainbow Farms, 7-Eleven of Monee, Better Built Lumber, Massage Works, Iroquois Paving, Dr. Teresa Bogues, and M&J Underground, West Cocal Inc., and McDonald's of Monee. So quite a list of sponsors again, so we're very, very thankful. Tonight we have movies in the park, Shrek, which starts at dusk. Gorgeous night out tonight. Next movie is on July 27th, which will feature Lorax. Thank you again to Animal Wellness of Monee for sponsoring all of this summer's movies. We had our first party in the park at Sunrise Park, and it was a blast. The next one will be on July 26th at Potawatomi Park, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., featuring free hot dogs, chips, bottled water, a jump house, and more. And we have excited to add one more party to the list, which will be August 23rd, in a back-to-school special with the Monee Police Department and at Fireman's Park. Besides our usual fun, we will also have free ice cream for the men and women in blue. And this Saturday is our second farmers market, 8 a.m. to 12 noon at Fireman's Park. Eggs, plants, jewelry, and much, much more. And next Wednesday is our first ever senior expo at Fireman's Park, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Seniors and their caregivers can join us for a day of various organizations and businesses that have free programs or helpful information and resources for our seniors. A free lunch to those to attend while supplies last. We have joining us Will County Senior Services, Illinois Department of Treasury, Will County Forest Preserve, Catholic Charities, Congresswoman Robin Kelly's office, the Senior Assistance Center, Village Woods, and more. End of report.
Thank you very much. Economic Development, Trustee Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. No new business licenses to report this week, this meeting. Under Project Magnify Monee, the village new logo has been implemented. Also, the monument signs or village gateway signs project is underway. The first step in the project is staking and marking sign locations. Project Unite Monee, the Dunkin' Donuts development project is underway, located on Monee Manhattan Road between Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Talks with Rev Logistics, Crow's Heads Cooperage and Whiskey, and Vortman Still in reference redevelopment agreements are underway. Director Bill Barnes is diligently following up on a couple of viable options for a grocery store. And remember to shop Monee when you can. End of report, Mayor.
Thank you. Building Services, Trustee Henson.
Thank you, Mayor. There were 51 permits valued for the month of June at $499,578. 22 homes have been scheduled for resale. Resale inspection. Dunkin' Donuts is making great progress in developing their new facility there. I guess I've seen lots of people still asking, what's going on in there? What's getting put there? With it being summer and everything, and with the pools and such, there is a safety requirement for anything that holds over 24 inches of water. That would be, even your hot tubs and even the seasonal standalone type pools. If it holds more than 24 inches of water, it's going to require a 4-foot tall fence, no closer than 4 feet from the water. If anybody has any questions on specifics on these, they just give the Building Services Department a phone call, and they'd be glad to help out with that. But with it getting hot and everybody having their pools and wanting to buy other pools and such, we just got to be safe. End of report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Trustee Udris.
Thank you, Mayor. For emergency management, they took delivery of a 2016 light tower that also has a 6K generator on it. Cost of that was $6,384. A new unit like this would have had a cost of over $25,000 to $30,000. So this unit that we were able to find, it does have low hours. It's in excellent condition and is now is also in the current budget. So great find for EMA, and will be a huge asset for them. Some service calls for them on June 30th. EMA assisted the police and fire with traffic for a structure fire over on Roosevelt and Polk for approximately 4 hours. Also on the 30th, Monee assisted with placing American flags in Gulf Vista. On July 7th, EMA assisted the police and fire with traffic control on Monee Manhattan Road at I-57, where they had a rollover semi that was carrying several thousand gallons of paint, and they were out there for about 5.5 hours helping with that. On July 9th, EMA assisted Kids Day and also was able to provide a large generator for the bounce houses, also provided first aid and several trucks for the touch-a-truck that they had. And July 9th, EMA also assisted Monee Police with the 100 Club Police Motorcycle Run that came through town. EMA is also preparing to send staff to Highland Park, Illinois, to assist in their family assistance and assist the Red Cross, FBI, and Lake County Emergency Management after the tragic 4th of July incident. And they are planning to be deployed out there this Thursday and Friday. So with over 6 months into the year, just to let you know, EMA has responded to 20 calls for service, 15 details, 29 trainings for a total of 64 events, and they're on target to have their busiest year to date. So this is only made possible by the dedicated volunteers that EMA has. So, end of report.
Thank you. Moving on to the attorney's report, Larry.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 4 items for the board's consideration. The first item is a resolution allowing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Village of Monee and Will County. This is for work to be done in the future, and if we're going into their right-of-way, but Will County requires this document, so it's up for the board's review and consideration.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is just for like IGA or?
Yes.
The sidewalk and the lighting.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
2022-8.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item for the board's review and consideration is an ordinance establishing a speed limit on Court Street, which I believe was talked about in the previous board meeting. The speed limit will be 25 miles an hour, and we would have the right to install 4 appropriate signs noting the speed limit. It's up for the board's review and consideration.
I'll make the motion.
I will second.
Discussion?
So, just to be clear, we already have speed limit at 25. I don't recall in my years on the board ever having ordinances for speed limits. Can you explain that?
Well, it's just, I reiterated what the speed limit was, but the essence of the ordinance was just the number of signs.
Okay.
So this is making it available for us to be able to put the signs that we've discussed at previous meetings
Yes.
that
And there's
flatten at them and
discussion where you want to
flatten their
put it.
tires
Yeah.
if they go too
Okay.
fast.
Flash at them. Okay. Got it.
To accompany that too, you know, we talked about, amongst different trustees, they had talked about like, what other things, you know, speed bumps can come up and we know how cumbersome, I think Ed would have a heart attack if we did that, and probably half the town. But like that temporary construction tape that makes that rip stop, it's kind of a rumbling sound. If we have that by those signs also to gain extra attention to the signs that we'll have on Court Street would also be appreciated. I think that it would be another thing we can do because we've all identified that it's an issue. I mean, for those who are here and see it going on daily, and you got guys, you have cars going around people, which I don't understand, but they're actually going around people. So whatever we can do to make that stop or slow them down, it would be appreciated because we're getting more and more kids in summertime in traffic. So we're going to have the sidewalks going in. So kind of conditioning, getting people ready to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I've also had a few conversations about halfway in the middle of 50 and here Will Center, finding a place to put a stop sign to break the speed, to break the driving through that long stretch, and I've gotten some positive feedback on it, and I'll probably be wanting to bring that up later too.
Would this be also an appropriate time to bring up that survey, or should we do it in open comment?
How about new business?
New business?
Sure. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udress?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2005.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item for the board's consideration is an ordinance granting residential tax relief within the village of Monee. I set forth the requirements for a homeowner to receive a surplus check. There has to be a date certain, though, also pursuant to state statute, but the requirements are pretty well spelled out in the ordinance, and it's up for the board's review and consideration.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I think as we've discussed before, it's great to give something back to the residents. I would like to be able to have a conversation as we start talking about the levy of maybe in place of doing reimbursements or, in effect refunds for the residents, looking at actually permanently lowering our levy as to give more permanent savings to our residents.
It also is in section 2, there's a typo.
Mr. Batista just warned me about that. The reason we've done this for 30 years out of the village, and trust me,
Yep.
I will tell my secretary there is a difference between Monee and the Village of Bedford Park, so.
I'd just
Duly noted.
I'd just like to say that I'm sure that Reuben and Daryl are finally glad that this has come to fruition, because since I got sworn in, as a lot of you know, I've been beating my chest about this, to give it back to the people, and they deserve to know that we actually do care about them, and that they deserve it. And I'm happy about this. I do have a question. I believe in our discussion that it was a 50% of the Monee portion. Larry, where does that say that in here, or can you explain to me the actual wording on it? I was told it might be a sliding scale for each year.
I don't have it in there, but if we need to do that, we could insert that.
And that's what I was just going to ask too, if you could maybe
50%?
do like the abridged version of how the actual disbursement will take place.
Well, usually in most villages, and Will County is going to be different this year, but Cook County are way behind their taxes. What usually indicates is that an individual will come in with a paid tax bill with some proof of ownership that he or she lives in a house and owns a property. And probably most importantly, there are no fines due to the village. The water bills are paid in full, and there's nothing due and owing to the village. At that point in time, it's given to the finance director for him to process. It'll take about a week to 10 days. And there's if they're current with all their fines, then there should be no problem.
Daryl, can I ask a question on this? And this is probably, again, the cart before the horse, but could there be an online version with our new payment system then, if they were able to scan these documents to a specific email for you to collect?
Yeah, we did discuss an online form that they would be able to submit to the village. The one thing that we would need is we need a hard copy of verification of ownership of the home. So we would need that person to actually come into the village hall to supply, that information directly to us.
Like a mortgage statement?
Mortgage statement, driver's license, piece of mail stating that that person actually lives in that property.
Got it.
If I can, I'm sorry.
The one thing that should be noted too, as set forth in the ordinance, there is a definite time when the residents have to apply. If they miss that deadline, that surplus funds by state law are supposed to go back in corporate. But Daryl will find out. They come in pretty quickly, Daryl.
They already are.
Pardon me?
They already are.
They're working on it now.
I don't doubt it. But that's a very good way too to find out that the bills are paid in full.
Will there be like a mailer to homeowners or
I was just going to address that. So there is policy that's being put in place. So tonight is for the ordinance, and then in the next meeting will be this discussion. Daryl is going to have a few minutes of a presentation to provide the board and the public of what the procedure will be, the timeline, all of the requirements that we'll ask the residents to bring in. And so that'll be at the next board meeting. Daryl, you're copying notes, right? And if I could just jump in. So this ordinance went back and forth between Larry and I numerous times and over the weekend as well. So part of the discussion was a sliding scale, as Trustee Henson brought up, whereas the ordinance is set in place, but if the board so deems next year, this is a beta program we're using, if the board decides to change that, if sales taxes plummet, if whatever we have to do to revisit this next year, then the ordinance is in place, but the board will set the policy on what that number would be, that percentage.
Each year.
Each year. And so this ordinance has the flexibility in it. So it's not recognizing a percent per se, but we would, with Larry's permission, handle that the best way appropriate.
And are we allowed, this year would be? Which percentage have we come up?
The board approved 50%.
We approved 50%. Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, I'll put that in there. That is a good point by Reuben, though. Each and every year, that's got to come up before the board for approval, because you find out what happens with some villages, as Reuben pointed out. The income's not what they expected. So they got to review meaning, review the finances, and if it's appropriate, then you pass it. If it's not,
So Larry, this would be the ordinance that we're passing today, and then each year we would just determine what percentage?
Yes, sir.
So this would be every year?
Yes, sir.
There'd be a percentage from here on out?
yes, sir.
Thank you, guys.
So can we, or should we pass it, or with amendments provided by the next meeting?
I think you could pass it tonight, subject to the amendment, about 50% of the village's tax portion.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes, and amen.
2006.
Thank you, Mayor. And the last ordinance for review and consideration deals with what we call the ATF tax. We amended the ordinance to include now the sale of hemp/CBD oil at 2.5% versus 1%. We also indicated that the facility improvements, if a retail dealer makes the improvements, he or she would be eligible up to 50%. They're matching funds. And the improvements include permanent landscaping, approved signage upgrades, facility bathroom improvements, aesthetics, curb appeal projects, and landscaping. The mayor and the board of trustees will review each application and will render a final decision. So it's up for the board's review and consideration. And just as retroactive, I should say that too. I think it's November when it first started.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I did have a question. Were roofs included in that?
Roofs?
Yeah. Okay, I didn't hear you right. I thought you had said that, but thank you.
So my comment is that this is really a creative way of generating, using these monies and generating projects to improve businesses, the look and so forth. My question is, do we have a mechanism other than this board meeting that people may or may not watch of getting this out to the businesses, communicating this to them?
If I may, it would be our Economic Development Director, Bill Barnes, will get the message out. A letter will be sent to the businesses. He's already made a preemptive just to start letting folks know that this is on the agenda and we're moving in this direction. It's also just for a little bit more. It's a 50-50 match to that, but in the other 50 would go to the police department and EMA as a reminder.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
2007.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Larry. Any unfinished business? New business?
Okay, I'll just go back to this, and I guess it kind of goes along with the ordinance that we established with the speed limit signage on Court Street to 25 miles an hour. Recently, you might have seen our Will County executive put out that there is a survey available to the public, and the public input is coming to a close. So everybody in the village of Monee, especially if you love our 25-mile-an-hour speed limit along Court Street, we need to take this survey and really take a close look at it, because it could change the very face of our Court Street, because there's an FAU route for trucks being established through Will County, of which one of the proposed routes for those trucks, a protected FAU route for trucks right down Court Street. So that is one of the viable options. And so if anybody in the village of Monee has not taken this survey or taken the 15 minutes to do this survey, please do this before the public input ends.
And where would they find that, Heidi?
So that was on, maybe we can put it out again tonight, but it was on the Village of Monee page, and it was on the Will County Executive page. So I can, when I get home, I can re-put that on the village page.
Anything else? Thank you, Heidi. Open to the public, non-agenda items.
I know it's getting a little bit late, so we won't take up too much of your time. A couple of things. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to the board and thank you to the trustees for the donation. We will do our diligence and make sure that every penny of that is used wisely. Our number one priority is to make sure that the Heritage Center is open more and more regular hours, and this should enable us to do that. So that is our number one priority with that. Billy's going to update you on what's going on over there, and then I want to talk about Monday's meeting.
Hello. So we had our Heritage Day this past weekend. We had Lauren Bookmeyer with Crow's Head Cooperage. He is one of only 26 Coopers in the United States and the only one in the state of Illinois, and it's right here in Monee. And so he explained the process of barrel making to make sure that the wines and bourbons taste the way they're supposed to. It's a process that goes back to Julius Caesar, I think he said.
That's what he said.
So our next Heritage Day is going to be in line with Puchapalooza. That's on Saturday, August 20th, I believe, and we're going to be open from 10 to 3. And then we have a couple of different book clubs. So right now, the American History Book Club, which I lead because I'm a nerd, is a book about, and if you're wondering if I was a nerd, I picked this book. It's about James K. Polk. So anyway, the first half of it we're discussing tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the Heritage Center. And then the second half we're going to be discussing on August 4th, also at 7 o'clock. And the first Thursdays of every month is the Mystery Book Club. And you know more about the Mystery Book Club than I do.
We meet every other month at the Heritage Center and at the Monee, or at the Piatone Library. And we just talk about a mystery book. We see who killed who this time. And we also have scrapbooking. Are you going to mention the scrapbooking?
Go for it.
Scrapbooking on Friday nights, which is going very well. We're putting together right now a scrapbook of the renovations of the creamery, so that will be available for everybody to come and look at pretty soon, which is pretty interesting. And
so we also have, we're tag teaming here. We also have a couple of different kind of fundraising opportunities, but there are also ways to learn more about Monee. One is Our Roots Are Deep. The book is for sale. You can email us and have a copy shipped to you, or you can come on one of our Heritage Days and pick one up in person. We also have a raffle going on for a quilt. And then if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can say that we are your preferred charity, and we get a little bit every single time that you make a donation, and it doesn't cost you anything more. Also, you were talking about the Will County Executive. I'm going to brag on Christy here a little bit. She got appointed not too long ago to the Will County Historic Preservation Commission by the county executive. And so the Historic Preservation Commission is doing a lot of new things.
And that brings us to the meeting that you all have a piece of paper on next Monday, the 18th. It will be at the Heritage Center at 6 o'clock. What it is a public forum. The Will County Preservation Commission has contracted to do a new historic preservation plan. That is important to us because currently the preservation plan that the county passes, which is the one we're doing right now, is just in charge of things that are not incorporated villages, so just the county at large. However, if the villages do not, or if the village or town does not have its own Historic Preservation Commission, then, as you know, when we do a landmark or something, we have to do an intergovernmental agreement, an ordinance, different things like that. What we're looking to formulate is how that might change. And so we really want to think long and hard about whether or not we want to formulate that so that the county has a little bit more control over our historic preservation, or if we want to consider forming our own village-wide Historic Preservation Commission. There's one in Crete, and I've met with them to speak with them about what the parameters of that are. And it sounds like something that would be feasible and doable, but we'd also like to make sure that whatever we do is in alignment with what the county does. So this is just, the person that's doing the survey is going to be there to get input from the public, and I think it's important that we have as many of y'all there as possible, because these are the people that are going to be making those kind of decisions that, again, could impact us down the road. So if you can make it Monday night at 6 o'clock at the Heritage Center, so we can both hear what he has to say and he can hear what we have to say. And that's the end of our report. So thank you very much.
Hi guys, I'm back. First, about the survey, is it possible that, I know I'm not supposed to ask questions, so let me just start saying that, but is it possible that we can put like an announcement on the village marquee telling people about the survey? Because I didn't know about it, and I don't think anyone really knows about it, as far as the one for stopping the truck route on Court Street.
And I'll check, I think time is of the essence on that, so I'll check the date and time that all of those are due, you know, when the public input is ending.
Okay, perfect. And then I know I don't get a vote on this, but I vote yes to enclose the pavilion and make it beautiful, you know, buy once, cry once. So that's my vote. And then I come bearing gifts. So I would like to request, I don't know if I can do this, but who cares, right? Just do it. So I brought up at the last meeting, I'm going to do this. Can you guys pass these around? I brought up about maybe building an outdoor track around the field out here, because I looked at the comprehensive plan since I didn't know what I was talking about the last time, and there's no outdoor track there. So I was wondering if maybe we could do like a nice track. Sorry that it doesn't look beautiful. I was at work, I had to hurry up. But it has like benefits of an outdoor track for the community and things of that nature versus like a walking trail. You know, like I have bad knees, a lot of people have bad knees, hips, things like that. But a nice track would be softer on our joints. It'll promote a lot of different things that you guys can read about in there. And then I put some pretty pictures in there that aren't really that pretty, but there's like different options for a track. There's like a blue one at the back of there. I mean, I know our colors are like, well, they're not blue anymore, but either way, we can make it for us, right? And then the other question I had is that I know we're doing great things with Parks and Rec, and I don't want to take anything away from that, but I have a little toddler, and a lot of us have toddlers, and we don't want them to fall off the playgrounds and break their necks or lose a tooth. So I was just wondering with some of the other parents who have toddlers if it's possible to have like smaller play structures at our parks. Let's start with Friendship Park since I live over there. But so I also brought I come bearing gifts. So some examples of like some play structures for 2 to 5-year-olds. And I found this blog that lists the benefits of younger kids having the opportunity for outdoor play as well, because we know the bigger kids kind of just take over the playground right now. So it would be nice to have something that I don't have to climb with my child or anyone else of that nature. They can kind of do their own thing, interact with each other, and it'd be great. And so I know the next question, so I added some things in there, like some examples, some nice pictures of like a smaller play structure. I don't know if anyone's ever been down to the Bourbonnais Park District, but they have a nice example of that where it's a smaller structure alongside the bigger structure for the kids. And also, I put likes, I know Little Tykes Commercial makes them, and somebody else that I found randomly online. But I printed these out too. I only printed 2 of them because it was way too much paper. But it is Little Tykes product, like catalog. It lists some structures in there too. I wanted to do all the homework so you guys can say yes. Either way, yes, so that's the end of my report. Thanks, guys.
Oh, okay, it's like a price list.
Thank you, Rhonda, for all that information. Next on our agenda is moving into executive session for item number 1, 820 ILCS 12/5, Section 5, collective bargaining, contract negotiation, and item number 2, 5 ILCS 120/2C5, the purchase or lease of real property with the PIN number 2114211000040000 for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Can I please have a motion to adjourn to go into executive session?
Make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn? Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I have a motion, please, to reopen our regular board meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Roll call.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Trustee Horn? Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
And if we may, just before we adjourn, when we did J1 for the resolution, I just want to make sure that the record reflects it is 2022-7, not 8.
Okay.
Okay.
I was wondering about that.
All right, can I please have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion, man.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
8:58 p.m.